Hello and welcome to the channel. So my name is Telma Owanchukwu and today I'm going to be showing you how to make this pencil skirt. The easiest way to make a pencil skirt. So this is a two-part video. The first video I showed you how to create the pattern for this skirt, and here I'm going to make it. So if you haven't seen that first video, please, I'll drop the link to the video in the description box. You can just go ahead and watch it, how to create the pattern. In that video I also dropped a great tip when as regards measuring your hip or taking your hip measurement. So if you haven't seen the video, I'll suggest you go watch it and come back and watch this video, how the easiest way to make a pencil skirt. So right now I'm just going to go ahead with cutting my skirt, my fabrics with this pattern. This is for the back. I'll go ahead and cut the lining as well. After using my pattern to cut, I'll go ahead and cut my lining as well. On this lining part, after cutting out my main lining for both the back and the front, I want to go in with one inch. I want to take off 1 inch for my lining. So you can go as much as taking 2 inches, but because I don't want this skirt to be too short, I will just take out 1 inch for my lining. When we are making the skirt, you see the reason why I am taking off this 1 inch. So this is my 1 inch. I'm just going to go ahead to cut it off, and we'll get into the sewing proper. First thing you want to do is to take out your skirt. This is the front part of the skirt and the lining, and sew it at the hem of your skirt. Sew the lining and the on the skirt, the hem. I'll do this for the OPCs, the two at the back and the front body. So this is why we took off that 1 inch, just so that we can have a perfect finishing at the hem of our skirt, right? So you can go in as much as 2 inches if that's what you want, but for this skirt, because I don't want it to be too short, I just went in with 1 inch. So right now, after sewing the hem of your skirt with your lining, the next thing you want to do is to put the back, one side of the skirt to the front. Just watch the video and see what I am doing. You'll get it really. I'm aligning it with one side of the front of my skirt, and I'm just going to run a straight stitch, taking 1 inch, 1 inch. Here I'm going to ensure the lining. So what you are doing for your skirt, you are doing the same thing with the lining, ensuring the lining aligns just from the top to the bottom. I'll do the same thing for the other part. I'll put the other side of the skirt, then use a straight stitch with 1 inch from the beginning of the skirt to the end, which is the lining part. But please don't forget to ensure that the lining is well aligned at the hem of the skirt, just like this. So I'm going to take a straight stitch down. So after doing that, I went ahead to also take in my darts for both the front part, the back, and the lining as well. Everything I did for the fabrics, I also did with the lining. So at this point, really, our skirt is almost ready. I told you this is one easy way to make a pencil skirt, to sew your pencil skirt. So our skirt is almost ready. The next thing you want to do now is to fold this skirt, the two sides, this side you are seeing, which is the back of the skirt, you are going to align them together. I'm going to go ahead to pin this so I can work with it easily. So whatever I'm doing for the skirt, I'm going to do the same to the lining. I just want to align everything to just make it straight. But now let's focus on the skirt. So this part, and the next thing you want to do is take out your skirt measurements, right? And the measurement I'm working with for this skirt is waist of 28. So I'm just going to mark out my 14 inches, that is 28 divided by 2. because I'm taking like almost my final measurement. But so let's just see. So I'm going to go ahead to take the hip measurement, and for this project I'm working with hip 37. So after marking my necessary measurements, which is the waist and the hip, the next thing I want to do is just to show you where the slit will start. This is a pencil skirt, you know, so I'm just trying to mark out the lines where how our skirt will go if we sew it. But right now we are not sewing it, right? I'll show you what we are doing next, but let me just mark out my slit, where the slit will start. I'm just going to mark that out as well, right there. So basically I'm taking out this mark. I want to know where my final measurements will be, and I want to see how many inches I would have left after my final measurement. The next thing, I just folded my lining back and the skirt together. So this now is my lining and the skirt together. What I want to do now is trim out the excesses. Now I have seen where my measurement will be. This measurement I've taken out, I've seen how they will look. This is where I have my final measurement. So the next thing I want to do is take out the excesses, so that at the end of it, when I am done with sewing, I will not have too much allowance at the back of the skirt, right? So this is what I'm just going to do. Take out the excesses. I still have like 1 inch to work with, one inch to work with, so that's fine. So after doing this, the next thing I want to cover up these openings at the back, and I'm going to use the lining to cover them up. The first thing I want to do is to sew my lining and the skirt, right? So just follow what you see me doing. So you're going to use a straight stitch to sew that part, to cover that opening, and do the same thing for the other parts of the back as well. So now that we are done, this is what we have. Everywhere is closed, almost closed. Well, so everywhere is closed, like almost closed though. So we have these parts. So I'm just going to give this a good press. Just came to show you how it looks now, so just give it a good press, and our skirt is almost ready, like really almost ready. So now let's move on to having our band for the skirt. So this is a 4 inches band. The length of your band will depend on your waist measurement plus 1.5 or 2 extra inches. So right now this is 4 inches. So the next, I want to first get the center of this band. So right now I've done that. I first ironed it into 2 equal halves so I could get the center of this piece. Then I went in to fold one part of that center, one part with 1/2 inch in. I'm going to be sewing this band from inside out. So the part where you have your lining is where I'm going to be placing this band, and that's where I'm going to sew this band. So you can see the part where the lining is, so it will give us this beautiful finishing. So I've gone ahead to do that. This is what we have. I've gone ahead to sew our band from inside out. So look at how neat inside is, right? Very neat, right? So now I have our band outside. So that part where I have folded in, I'm just going to stitch it on the skirt. I'm just going to place it like so and stitch it. So be very careful. I pushed my band to one part of the waist, then the other part I almost didn't have enough. But yeah, just ensure you have enough on both sides. But it's also fine, it's not bad at the end of the day, since we are still going to stitch in our zip on that part. So I'm just going to go ahead to stitch I'm just going to stitch my band on the skirt like so, and really we are 95% done with this skirt. And now this is what we have. Our skirt is ready. neat on the inside and on the outside. Can you see that? So right now we're just going to attach the zip and close the remaining parts, the back, right? So this is what we are going to take our final measurements. Look at how that skirt is looking. The pencil shape is already showing, and our skirt is looking very neat both on the inside and on the outside. So let me just pin this in. So let me pin them so I can work with them easily. So right now, let's go ahead to take the final measurements of this skirt. The final measurement for the skirt, yeah. So the first measurement is our waist. Again, we're just going to go ahead with the waist and the hip measurement. Don't forget to take the measurement where your slit will begin. So my slit, that's where my slit will start. So that means everything I'll be sewing will end at that point. From that point to the bottom will be where I have the slit. Let me just turn. I hope you understand. From that point where I marked last will be where everything I'll be sewing will end. So right now, let's go ahead to mark where our zip will end as well. Okay, so if the zip stops here, from there we just make a straight stitch to that place where the slit will be. So if I turn it for you to see, where I marked for the slit is where anything we are sewing will end. So let's just stitch this and see. Fixing your zip, take your straight stitch, or take your straight stitch first before you put in your zip. So that's the order. You take your straight stitch, then you put in your zip. So right now I have gone ahead to do that. I've gone ahead to sew everything. You can see how neat and how beautiful this skirt looks both on the inside and on the outside, and see why we had to trim the excesses at that time we did. Right now we don't have too much allowance at the back of the skirt, so it makes it very neat and beautiful, right? So our skirt is ready. Like ready. Is this not easy? I know it's easy, right? So please do well to subscribe. If you find this video helpful, or if you find this helpful, please do well to subscribe and turn on your bell notification so you always get updated, or get notified whenever I upload a new video on this channel. More amazing tutorials are coming. Thank you so much for watching. And please, if you are making yours, tag us on Instagram at Fortizo Fashion Academy.